Hey everyone, welcome back to Tales Over Wine, where we sip on something good and dig into some seriously wild true stories. Tonight, we're diving into one of the most infamous unsolved mysteries in modern history, the JonBenét Ramsey case. Trust me, this one will have you shaking your head because after nearly 30 years, we still don't have solid answers. So pour yourself a drink and let's get into it. All right, so it's Christmas 1996 in Boulder, Colorado. The Ramsey family, John, Patsy, their 9-year-old son Burke, and of course 6-year-old JonBenét, were spending the holiday at home. The next morning, December 26, Patsy wakes up and finds a 2.5-page ransom note on the staircase. 2.5 pages? That's a lot for a ransom note, right? Anyway, the note is demanding $118,000, which oddly enough is the exact amount of John's work bonus. That's sus already, but more on that in a sec. So Patsy freaks out and calls 911 at around 5:52 a.m. She tells them her daughter is missing and someone's taken her. Naturally, the police come rushing over to the house. But here's the thing, the crime scene? Yeah, not secured. The Ramseys had friends and family coming in and out of the house, which, pro tip, is a big no-no when you're dealing with an active crime scene. So any potential evidence contaminated? Fast forward a few hours, around 1 p.m., JonBenét's father, John, decides to search the house himself. That's when he finds his daughter's body in their basement. She'd been strangled and her skull was fractured. And here's where things get even weirder. Despite the ransom note, JonBenét was never actually taken out of the house. This is where a lot of people started to think, okay, something's not adding up, so let's talk about this ransom note for a sec. It was written on paper that belonged to the Ramseys inside their house, and it was long, like 2.5 pages is almost a novel for something that's usually a quick, we have your kid, pay up. Also, $118,000 is such a weird number to demand. It's literally the exact amount of John's holiday bonus. What are the odds of that, right? People started wondering if this note was staged, but that's not even the strangest part. When they found JonBenét's body, she had been strangled with a garrote, a type of cord that was tightened with a paintbrush handle. The handle also found in the house. It was one of Patsy's from her arts and crafts stuff. There were also signs of sexual assault, but no semen was found at the scene, and that's another mystery on its own. The investigation into JonBenét's death was a hot mess from the start. Not only was the crime scene contaminated, but the police were divided on who they thought did it. Was it someone from inside the house, or did an intruder break in? They couldn't agree. The media, on the other hand, was all over it. Within days, JonBenét's face was everywhere, TV, newspapers, you name it. And let me tell you, the media was relentless. They zeroed in on the family, especially John and Patsy, treating them like they were suspects from day one. A lot of people thought Patsy might have been involved, or maybe even JonBenét's older brother Burke. The whole family was under this cloud of suspicion, which honestly only made the case even more of a circus. I mean, the ransom note was super shady, their behavior in interviews seemed kinda off, and the fact that JonBenét's body was found inside the house? Yeah, it wasn't looking great for them. But then, plot twist. In 2008, DNA evidence found on JonBenét's clothing didn't match anyone in the Ramsey family. The authorities were like, oops, our bad, and officially cleared them of involvement. So if it wasn't the Ramseys, who was it? There's a theory that an intruder broke into the house through the basement window. But it's kinda sketchy, like how did this person manage to sneak in, write a long ransom note, and do all that without waking anyone up or leaving behind more evidence? But there was unidentified male DNA found on JonBenét's underwear and her long johns, so an intruder isn't completely out of the question. Then we have the bizarre confessions. In 2006, this guy named John Mark Carr, who was a school teacher, comes out of nowhere and says, I killed JonBenét. Everyone was like, wait, what? But his story fell apart almost immediately. He wasn't even in Colorado at the time of the murder, and his DNA didn't match anything from the scene. So yeah, another dead end. People also looked at the Ramseys' housekeeper, Linda Hoffman-Pugh, as a suspect. She even pointed the finger back at the family, saying she thought someone in the house did it. But again, no evidence tied her to the crime. And we can't forget the theory that JonBenét's brother Burke accidentally killed her, and the parents covered it up to protect him. This theory was all over the media for years, and it even resurfaced after a CBS special aired in 2016. Burke actually ended up suing the network for defamation. He's always denied having anything to do with his sister's death, and honestly, it seems like just another wild theory in a case full of them. So here we are more than 25 years later, and we still have no real, answers. Was it someone inside the house? An intruder? The DNA evidence is pointing to someone outside the family, but with so much contamination of the crime scene and the mishandling of evidence, it's hard to say if we'll ever know the truth. This case is just one of those that gets under your skin. It's a little girl who was supposed to be safe in her home, yet something awful happened and we still don't know why or how. It makes you wonder how many cases out there remain unsolved because of similar missteps. So, what do you think? Could it have been someone close to JonBenét? Or was it a stranger who somehow slipped through the cracks? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because honestly, this case still keeps me up at night. Don't forget to subscribe for more true stories and mysteries. And until next time, cheers.